After coming back from Nevada with the victory, I think Georgia Southern put themselves in a pretty good position, a lot of confidence, and I also think that Coach Clay Helton has put this team in a good spot. I think what you're starting to see is his vision of what this team could be. In year three, you're starting to see how the team is playing, and I think he got the quarterback that can do it. Quarterback that's been in the system for a while, and with them going up against South Carolina State, I think they're going to continue to see this offense much better, more solid, and really getting the running game going. They're going up against South Carolina State after coming home against, I'm about to say Phoenix, but Nevada, beating Nevada, solid win, come home, and they're going to host South Carolina State. I think that Georgia Southern should win this game handily. But you can't go past, look past this team. Can't take anything for granted. And if you're not watching it, this team could beat you. So I think that South Carolina State has a fairly decent roster. We're going to talk about that and how it goes going to compare against Georgia Southern. Give you my thoughts and opinions on what Georgia Southern can do and what they should not do against this game. And we're just going to go from there. So I appreciate everybody who's been supporting the channel, watching the videos, giving their thoughts and opinions about Atlanta Falcons and the Georgia Southern Eagles. And I think the Eagles are on their way to do something great this year. I saw what the Sun Belt has been doing. They look okay. They're not as strong as they used to be. And I think Georgia Southern, long as you got J.C. French in the way that he's holding on to the ball, not giving the ball away, is going to bode well. And I think you're going to see more of that, not only with his passing, but with his legs. And not only with the legs, let's talk about the running game in general. I would like to see more of Jalen White because South Carolina State, their top defensive tacklers are DBs. So what is that telling me? That's telling me that the front seven is not doing as much as you would think, especially after they played Florida A&M and when they played the Citadel. I just think we should be able to get the running game going. If we can get the running game going and mix it up with the pass, I think we should be able to put up, another, set of, 30 plus, 40 plus points. Now, not to take anything away from the South Carolina State Bulldogs, they do have a couple of players on their teams that can make some plays. Eric Phoenix, their quarterback, as of right now, has a higher completion percentage than J.C. French. He has 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 30 for 48, 326 yards passing so far. He looks pretty good as far as the numbers go. Duhart, their running back, DeAndre Duhart, has already ran for over 200 yards. Now, this is one thing I want to worry about because he averages 7.2 yards a carry. Georgia Southern has not done the best stopping the run. You saw what they done against Genty. You saw what they done with Red at Nevada. Even though they did run the ball fairly well against Nevada, we was able to negate them and keep, things in check for the most part so the game didn't run away from us. But I'm pretty sure that the tape is out there. South Carolina State is going to look at that tape, and they're going to try their best to run the ball against us. Not even that. Kazarius Adams is another running back that they do have that can run the ball. And the dual threat of Phoenix, he's already ran for 51 yards in 2 games. So that could be the difference in a game if you get the quarterback running as well. So the front seven of Georgia Southern is going to have to find a way to stop this rushing attack because I think that's where everything is going to happen at. Now the passing game does look good as well, but outside of Smith Brown, I don't see anything outside that. Justice Smith Brown is their top receiver so far, but I do feel like this team should not get as much production like the other teams that Georgia Southern has faced. And another thing, like I said, you get these guys, Marquise Watson Trent, you get Isaac Walker, you get Deadman, you get all these other guys involved in that front seven. Maybe we can negate some of that, get a couple of turnovers, and make things happen. Like I said, defensively, South Carolina State, man, their top tacklers are DBs. Their top 3 tacklers are defensive backs. What does that tell you? Like I said, that tells you that there's not much going on in that front seven. Not to take nothing away from them, but the numbers don't lie. And with that being said, I think that Georgia Southern should be able to attack that front seven in some way, try to find a way to get some yards on the ground. So I would like to see Jalen White have a big game. He's only had 56 yards rushing so far, and I would like to see him get into the swing of things, running the ball, even if OJ Arnold has to balance it out, even if J.C. French had to use his legs to give a little bit to soften up the front seven. But I do believe that this secondary of South Carolina State, I don't think they're gonna once again. I don't think they're gonna be able to keep up with the offense that we have when it comes to passing the ball. I mean, I'm not saying that anything against the defensive backs, but I don't see anything here to show that they can actually keep up with what we have. Addison is the only guy that I see that actually has a couple of defensive passes. Benjamin is another one, has passes defended as well. So outside of that, those two guys are your guys that's probably going to try to get in the mix. Everything else, I don't see nothing that's going for the defense, the defensive secondary for South Carolina State. It could be a long day for them, and that's what I expect. Now, the flip side of that, it can't be a long day for us. We need to stop the running game. Not saying taking nothing away from their passing game, because their passing game may have something to order, but they already know that the jury is out on Georgia Southern. They don't think that they're probably not going to think that we can stop the run. We saw what happened with Genty. We saw what happened with Red. Like I said, the last two games, we gave up a lot of yards in the running game. So I just feel like, we need to find a way to stop that, stop the run. I mean, that's one of the things that you would want to do when it comes to do that. Make them one-dimensional. And one thing I really don't think they can do is beat us or stop us in a shootout. I think that's not gonna bode well for them. A lot of people don't know, or they're starting to realize, or they've seen it over the past couple of years, that Georgia Southern can air the ball out very well. So that's something that we need to be use to our strengths. Stretch this team out, throw the ball around, and once you throw the ball around, soften them up with the run. Or what I noticed also as well this season is not necessarily what was going on under the Brian Ellis era. Now I'm starting to see under Ryan Applin is kind of like a run first type of offense, but we're still aggressive going downfield in the passing game. So it's a much more balanced attack, but it's more of the inverse, because like you said, you got a guy like J.C. French who can use his legs as well. So they're going to. I've noticed that they were trying to run first. And if they can get that going, this is the thing. If they can get that going with Jalen White, man, it's going to be a long day for South Carolina State. And I do like, what this team is made up. I think Georgia Southern has put themselves in a position to be very potent this season. Even when we played against Boise State, we managed to put up some points. And then we flipped it around against Nevada when we slowed the game down and was able to manage the game and take care of situations when the opportunity arises. And you can't ask for more than that. Coming back home to Paulson Stadium, we should be able to have our way with this team. And there's nothing to take away from South Carolina State. I just do believe that Georgia Southern is the better team. I think I think Georgia Southern is definitely the better team, and they should be able to, put up some numbers. I'm thinking they could put up 35 to 40 points against this team. And I just think that even though that South Carolina State will put up somewhat of a fight, I do believe on the back end, I think that Georgia Southern defense will shut most of this stuff down. We held Nevada to 17 points in a somewhat hostile environment. With us being at home, I think we know what the deficiencies are at Georgia Southern. We know that they're going to have a little bit of issues of trying to stop the run. Maybe we can clamp that down. We having a little bit issue of running the ball. I mean, that's not one time I can remember in the history of Georgia Southern after 2 games, our leading rusher is under 60 yards. We used to get 60 yards in a quarter and sometimes, we used to get 60 yards after, 2 drives. In one drive, we have 60 yards rushing. So to have 56 yards as our leading rusher, that's pretty abysmal. But I'm pretty sure they're going to try to establish that. You kind of don't want J.C. French throwing the ball all game long, even though it does look pretty, because J.C. French, he can pass fairly well. I mean, he's a lot better passer than I thought he would. I mean, not saying that he was bad, but he's a lot better than I thought he was. And Georgia Southern should be able to have an attack on both ends. running the ball and passing the ball, they should be good. I don't see any other way that it would be. I mean, I don't like I said, I don't see anybody on their defense that's actually like, okay, what am I seeing here? Even their linebackers, unfortunately, they haven't been putting up the numbers. I mean, they just haven't. The defensive linemen, they haven't been putting up the numbers. I mean, they're you know 7 tackles, 6 tackles for their leading defensive linemen. The linebackers, their leading tackler for linebackers 5. I mean, that's in 2 games, y'all. So that's what I'm saying. So you kind of starting to see what you got here. So I think Georgia Southern's going to be fine. They should win this game. I will be shocked if something different was to happen, especially after these last 2 games. It just seems like Georgia Southern is going to be in a situation where they're going to be able to put up some points, put up some numbers, and if anything, I would like to see the running game going. We already know that. We already know you can pass the ball. You're almost at 600 yards passing in 2 games, but that 56 is kind of worrisome. On the flip side of that, stopping the run against South Carolina State is paramount because we've been having trouble stopping the run. So that's pretty much the issue between these two. Once you get these two, getting the run established and stopping the run, I see Georgia Southern winning fairly easy. So let me know what you guys think. I'm going to get up out of here. Like, share, subscribe. I'll be back probably doing a live of the game again. Check out the live stream that we've been doing. It's been pretty awesome. People have been coming through and giving their thoughts and opinions during the game. And like I said, it was absolutely great just to have that. So, all right, y'all. See y'all on the next one. All right, I'm out. Peace.